In the year 1610, the protagonist for the story, Galileo, did what any child does and pointed his telescope to view the night sky and noticed that there were little objects orbiting the planet Jupiter. Although that is the only story that we've all been told, there are actually accounts in astronomer Simon Marius's writings that he's been observing Jupiter's satellite since 1609. He just had not published his findings before Galileo did. If Galileo was in college, that would have been an automatic 0. Don't believe me? Check the syllabus. If Jupiter had not been such an attention hog with its glare, it would have been possible to see these moons with our naked eye. Let's shift our focus to the moon Io. Io got its name from Greek mythology story of when a nymph was, trigger warning, raped by the biggest hoe of them all, Zeus, while cheating on his wife, Hera, not for the first time, I might add. Zeus, like the cop-out that he is, turned Io into a cow to hide her from his wife, before she could catch his cheating ass. Side note, this would have been a great episode of Surprise, surprise, Zeus, you are the father. As for the size comparison to Io, they're pretty much the same size, but our moon started early on its summer body and is slightly smaller. Io is slightly larger at a diameter of 3,643 kilometers, as opposed to our moon at 3,474 kilometers. Io's orbit of Jupiter is about as tight as a boy band skinny jeans, allowing it to complete its orbit in slightly over a day and a half. Io's orbital speed is roughly 17.34 kilometers per second. In our terms, that is slightly 11 miles per second. Just to draw a picture of comparison, Earth's orbital speed is roughly 30 kilometers per second, or 18.5 miles per second. So really, Io's not moving as fast as it seems. It's just revolving Jupiter at a very close diameter, like a clingy girlfriend, in order to complete an orbit in just over a day and a half. In 1979, Voyager 1 passed by Io and was able to see a surface that could only be described as really weird. The colors of the surface are red, yellow, orange, and some black spots. NASA describes Io as a giant pizza covered with melted cheese and splotches of tomato and ripe olives. NASA must have had some next-level munchies, but honestly, it looks like a moldy sponge. An engineer by the name of Linda Morabito once saw in one of the images of Io, there appeared to be another moon orbiting it. However, it was not another moon, rather it was a volcano on the surface that was erupting like Kanye West. And its plume was shooting up, opening up into a wide arc that made it seem as if there was another moon there. Io is the most volcanic object in our solar system. Seriously, there's more than 400 active volcanoes that we know of, and multiple are erupting at any given time. Io also has some mountains on its surface that are equivalent to Mount Everest. Another fun fact about Io is that it has the least amount of water of any known object in our solar system. You would think that it was caused by the insane amounts of volcanoes, right? Wrong. Although temperatures near the volcanoes can reach 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, the surface of Io is usually around the ballpark of negative 202 degrees Fahrenheit. Something crazier is the material from the eruptions are loaded with sulfur, and that is what causes the weird colors we see on Io's surface. The reason Io always has active volcanoes is caused by something called tidal flexing, which is basically just a big game of tug-of-war between the moons of Jupiter and Jupiter itself, with Io being the flag in the middle. The other Galilean moons pass Io on their orbits, tidal flexing, creating tides and heating Io's interior through friction. And since Io has a core made up of majority molten iron and iron sulfide, you can imagine just how crazy things are getting shaken up down to the core. So as the core is swishing around inside from being in a heated love battle between Jupiter and the other Galilean moons, it's becoming more and more active, causing the volcanoes to erupt. This is kind of similar to the idea of shaking a bottle of soda and unscrewing the top. So what happens to the sulfur that doesn't end up on Io's surface? Well, most of the sulfur particles end up as a part of a thin atmosphere surrounding Io. The remaining particles get picked up by Jupiter's magnetic field and accelerate to very high speeds, causing a donut-shaped radiation belt around Jupiter. The radiation is so intense that it would be able to kill an unprotected human in just minutes. It's almost 10,000 times what is needed to kill a human, or half as fire as my mixtape. Io is magnetically connected to Jupiter, causing such a massive tug-of-war fight between Jupiter and the Galilean moons. The charged particles of Io flown from its surface along the lines of magnetism to Jupiter. The particles essentially get slammed down at Jupiter's poles, causing the aurora, or what we commonly know it as the northern lights. All Galilean moons are pretty rad within themselves. Io is the most interesting.
And if you don't know,